Hey guys, good afternoon. Welcome back to the channel, United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Hope you're all having a great Sunday afternoon so far. Hope you've all had a good day. Hope you've all had a great weekend, and I hope you're all looking forward to another brand new week in October 2023 this year. First of all, do me a massive favour for me, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. That is United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Please subscribe to the channel and the community if you're new. Share the video. Hit the tweet button, hit the retweet button. Remember to put the notification bell on at all times to receive dedicated content right throughout the rest of 2023 on United Red Devils 20 for more Fortnite Chapter 4 Season 4 Last Resort, Rocket League Season 12 Porsche, EA Sports FC 24 content, more previews, more match reactions, and much more brand stuff planned for the last few months in 2023 this year on United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Thank you. Good afternoon to all you legends and all you legendary people, and welcome to the UEFA Champions League preview on match day 3 of the Champions League group stages for the 23-24 season. Manchester United against FC Copenhagen at Old Trafford on Tuesday night, 8 p.m. home even kickoff live on TNT Sports 1 HD. This is a must-win game. I think it is going to be a very, very tough week for Man United fans and Man United supporters across the globe, across the planet, due to obviously the sad passing of our legend, Sir Bobby Charlton, obviously an absolute hero, icon, inspiration, role model. Every word going, Sir Bobby Charlton was Mr. Manchester United. He was an absolute legend in the making. He was probably the greatest ever player to play for England and the greatest ever player to play for Manchester United, in my view. There's no question about that. And it's going to be a very, very emotional night on Tuesday night. I think there will be tears. It will be emotional. And it's going to be sad because we've lost one of the greatest players ever to grace our beautiful game in football. And what better fitting tribute that Man United finally try and get a Champions League win. This is a make or break game. It's a must-win game for Manchester United. We must beat FC Copenhagen on Tuesday. United have got to win this game. This is going to make or break our season. United fail to win this game, you might as well kiss to any hopes of Manchester United rescuing this Champions League campaign. I said, and I told everybody, this Champions League group was going to be tough. And I said, we are in a group of death. No one believed me. No one listened. And I said Manchester United are going to struggle to get out this group alive with the teams that we've got in it. FC Copenhagen, Galatasaray and Bayern Munich. We've lost our first two games 3-2 to Galatasaray and 4-3 to Bayern Munich away in Germany. This is a must-win game. If United fail to win this game and fail to come away with 3 points, we are basically out of the Champions League and we are out of Europe. The only way we turn this season around and we turn around this Champions League campaign is that Manchester United get this win. They know that staying in Europe for the rest of the season is a pivotal part for Erik ten Hag's success. And going out of Champions League is going to be a big, big blow because, like I said, I would have expected Man United to beat Galatasaray at home. I would have expected Man United to get something away against Bayern Munich. And I'm hoping Man United are going to get something on Tuesday night. I think, United have been very, very unlucky with injuries. We've been very, very unlucky with suspensions we've got. But I think the football we've been playing in the Champions League is nowhere near the level. I did say before the start of this Champions League campaign, it's going to be very tough for Man United. I did say before we even entered the group stage that the difference between the Europa League and the Champions League, it's completely night and day. It's a different level of competition. The quality is a lot different. And I said Man United would find this tough, but I wouldn't have expected Man United to lose their first 2 games in a row. I would have expected Man United to be sitting second or even first comfortably in this group against the German champions in Bayern Munich, the Turkish champions in Galatasaray, and the Denmark champions in FC Copenhagen. I did say this was going to be a very, very tough campaign. And truth to be told, Man United at the bottom of their group on 0 points and with a minus goal difference of -2. It's not been the start we wanted. I think Ten Hag, the players and the squad know that the pressure is on them to deliver Tuesday night. And I think we're going to have to. United are going to have to play up their skin. They are going to have to go for the juggler and they're going to have to put FC Copenhagen away to the sword. United have got to win this game. Because if United go out of Europe or we end up back in Europa League again, it's going to be Thursday night football, or even worse, Man United won't even be in Europe for the rest of the season, which would be damaging for this football club and this fan base with no European football left for the rest of the season. I said Manchester United are relying on the cup competitions, and I still do believe that theory. I still believe that view and opinion that United are solely reliant on winning a trophy this season. They've got to win one of at least the cup competitions to actually stand a chance of delivering what we all want as a fan base and supporters, that's to win consecutive trophies back to back. And I think the way Manchester United are playing at the moment, it's not where we want to be. It's not the level we expected, and it's not the football we expected these players to be playing. It doesn't look like this team's very united at the moment. It looks like we are playing as a bunch of individual again. The performances on the pitch are very, very lethargic, a lack of energy. There seems to be a lack of enthusiasm from the players. And I don't think these players are busting the gut. And then for me, that does concern me going into Tuesday night, that knowing this is a make or break game that United have simply got to win, coming away with it with nothing is going to be a disaster. I'm hoping that that thing won't happen. I'm hoping that phrase I've just said then isn't going to be a consequence, that if United fail to win Tuesday, kiss goodbye the rest of the season, because for me, the Premier League campaign is already over. For me, we are relying on the Carabao Cup or even potentially the FA Cup. And if United end back in Europa League, it's Thursday night football. And I think that will kill the rest of the season, because United will then be playing Thursday, Sunday for the rest of the season. And I don't think we've got the squad depth. I don't think we've got the quality. And for me, I don't think we've got the players available to be able to get away with this campaign. And Daraj Games 247 in chat said, I'm sorry, but both Bristol City and Man United both got lucky. Draw would have been a fair result in both games. Yeah, I think a draw would have been fair in both games. I think Sheffield United, like I said yesterday, absolutely outplayed and outclassed Man United yesterday. I think they were the better team in the first half, but I think the second half absolutely killed the Sheffield United momentum. And I think, one of my friends went to watch Bristol City play Coventry at Ashton Gate yesterday, and Coventry were all over Bristol City and could have been at least 3 or 4-0 up in that first half, because they were the better team and they were the better performers in that game. And obviously Coventry came away with nothing. Sheffield United came away with nothing, and Bristol City and Man United both won on the same weekend for once, which was a massive, amazing positive. But I think at the moment, the main focus for me is on this football club, that Man United have got to start turning things around. I think if we can play the way we played in that first half against Galatasaray, where, in my opinion and in my view, we were the better team when we went 1-0 up, but due to a lack of defending, a lack of clearing the ball, we let a stupid equaliser in. And I think we have got to stop conceding goals. We need to start keeping a few more clean sheets. And for me, we need to start putting teams like FC Copenhagen away. United, I think, have got the performances in them. I do believe these players can be playing a lot better than what they're playing at the moment at the level they want to be at. I just don't think these players' enthusiasm level seems to be very, very low. There seems to be a lack of morale. There seems to be a lack of positivity. There seems to be a lack of confidence from these players. I don't think, for me, they're trying. I don't know why they're not trying, or they're not busting the gut. Are they worried that if they try too much, they're going to injure themselves? Are they worried that if they play too well, that, they want to be playing every week in a United shirt? I just think, for me at the moment, those players seem to be having a lack of attacking flair. There seems a lack of diversity. There seems a lack of midfield dominance. And as for our back four, like yesterday, I couldn't understand and justify why Harry Maguire got man of the match yesterday. I think, he was bloody dreadful, in my opinion. I thought he was one of the worst performers on that pitch again yesterday. And all of a sudden, he was given the man of the match award. For me, that isn't justified. For me, it's very, very unfair, because I think there were better performers in that game yesterday than Harry Maguire. Defensively, he was woeful. And for me, the only advantage Harry Maguire's got is his aerial ability, because the height and the length he is. And I think, for me, in my opinion, that is all what he adds in his team, is due to his height and the aerial clearances he can make. I wouldn't have given Harry Maguire man of the match yesterday. And for me, I don't want Harry Maguire any near this team. I think defensively, he's woeful. Defensively, his ability against a physical attacking player, Harry Maguire can't compete. Harry Maguire can't cope. He looks like a petrified prawn in a tin. It's very, very embarrassing that he got man of the match. I'm sorry, I think he was bang bloody average. And for me, I don't want average. I want these players to be able to be stepping up to the plate and producing football that we've not seen in years. For me, I do agree with the views. I do agree with the opinions that at the moment, the football for me has got a lot worse. For me, under Eric Ten Hag, season 1 was fantastic. We did overachieve. Let's be honest about it. We got Champions League football. We got top 4. We won the Carabao Cup. But for me, the football we are playing is dreadful. For me, I have seen no improvement. I've seen these players go down tooling again. And I've seen these players go back into the shell they once were under Solskjaer and Ralph Ragnick. And I think for me, I thought these players would be up for this Champions League campaign. I thought they'd be excited and buzzing at the fact that Champions League football has returned to Old Trafford. And I think for me that Man United have more likely got the level of the Europa League team. And I think for me, we are going to end back in it. I mean, it's going to be a tough game Tuesday. People think that Man United are going to walk the floor with FC Copenhagen. It's going to be a very convincing performance that United are going to bang 4 or 5 goals in. Well, in your last 2 Premier League games, you've seen United scrape past Brentford and scrape past Sheffield United. For me, that ain't bloody good enough. United should be doing a lot better than what they're doing. United should be putting teams like that away to the sword and banging 6, 7 goals past them. Teams like that should not be keeping clean sheets against United. Brentford didn't and Sheffield United didn't, and luckily we got 6 points from 6, which in a sign is a positive that we've won our last 2 Premier League games in a row, and I hope we can keep that momentum up. I just think United, those players need to be doing what they're being told by Eric Ten Hag. I do question what's going on behind the scenes in training, because whatever's going on in training, I don't think it's happening on the pitch. I don't think these players are listening. I don't think these players actually give a shit. And I think, for me, in my opinion, if these players really cared, they'd be playing out their skin every game. I just think that they're worried about Eric Ten Hag going in on them. I think they're worried that if they play shit, Ten Hag's going to lose his shit. And I think they're worried, in my view, that, if they play badly, they're going to get absolutely ripped apart by the manager in the dressing room. And I think the players are scared of Ten Hag. I personally do think they haven't got the charisma or the attitude or the body language to cope with Eric Ten Hag's criticism. And loads of people tell me that Eric Ten Hag has dealt with the De Gea, Cristiano Ronaldo and Jadon Sancho situations very badly. I completely and utterly disagree. All 3 of those players were a problem at this football club, and all 3 players were got rid of very, very swiftly. Ronaldo's contract was terminated. David De Gea's contract wasn't renewed. And Jadon Sancho, because he's a spoilt little 5-year-old baby who was throwing his toys out of his pram again, like he did at Borussia Dortmund, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is clearly at fault for this signing, because Solskjaer should have seen the warning signs at Dortmund. Jadon Sancho was throwing his toys out the pram at Borussia Dortmund and was getting away with it. But I just don't think Jadon Sancho has got the commitment, the desire or the passion to play in a Man United shirt. For me, if he's streaming on FIFA on YouTube every night, for me, that's a lack of care for the club, the fans and supporters, and basically saying to the United fans, up yours. I don't give a shit. I'm bigger than the club. I'm bigger than the manager. No player is ever bigger than the manager. No player is ever bigger than this football club. It is Manchester United Football Club. We need to be on a united front. These players need to be getting on with the job they're paid to do. And they need to produce football that the fans and supporters can be proud of. Because if you look at our last 2 Premier League performances, if we play like that against FC Copenhagen, I think United can have a very, very difficult night. I'm sorry. I really, really think it's going to be a tough game. I don't think people expect that FC Copenhagen are going to sit here and park the bus. I think FC Copenhagen are going to go for it. They're going to look at that Galatasaray performance from United's last Champions League home game, and they're going to look at the defensive vulnerability of Manchester United. They're going to look at the insecurity of the midfield, and they're going to look at that front 3 with the lack of goals it's providing, and they're going to take that as a positive, because they know Man United aren't producing what we all expect, and they know that they can come to Old Trafford and snatch something. And it wouldn't surprise me if it happens. I was confident we'd beat Galatasaray very comfortably. And I did say I expect United to win this game 3 or 4-0, the way, I expected us to play. But I was shocked by the response of Galatasaray. I took them for granted. And for me, I hold my hands up. They were the better team. They have the better players. They got the better performances. But in the performance in the first half, we were all over them, and we should have put them away, and we didn't. If we would have took our chances more and stopped conceding goals, United would be a bit more of a consistent team, would see better football, a lot more attacking, free-flowing football. And we aren't doing that because we've been figured out. Ten Hag's tactics have been figured out, the way he manages his team. And I think the way we play has been figured out from last season's results. I think a lot of teams were shocked by Man United last season. They were shocked that we won a trophy. They were shocked we got top four, and they were shocked that we got back in the Champions League. I mean, I was shocked. I didn't expect either of those three things to happen. And I was shocked in the end. I was very, very, wow, I didn't expect that to happen. But because we've been figured out and the way we're playing, teams are responding to us. The fear factor is no longer there again. And I think we need to start bringing that back. The fear factor needs to come back to Old Trafford. We need to be a bit more consistent away from home as well. And I think Man United will become a great team again. But I think this process that, I want to read you something out that, Paul Merson, an ex-Arsenal reject, said about Manchester United. And I'm going to read it out for you live because I completely and utterly disagree with his comments and his views about Erik ten Hag and the way Manchester United are. This is what Paul Merson from Gillette Soccer Saturday has said. They are using excuses, Man United, on the pitch. Every time they lose a game, lose a football match, it's the Glazers' fault. I've played football enough times to know that the owners don't have much to do with it when you are playing football. I mean, I completely and utterly disagree with Paul Merson. I think he's spoiled. I think for me, he's got no clue what's going on inside Manchester United. And I think his comments are very, very invalid. The Glazers are the ones to blame for the results. They are the ones to blame for the performances. And for me, they are the ones to blame for the last 18 years of fucking consecutive mess. If Ten Hag would have got his number one key signings in the summer, Harry Kane, Victor Osimhen, Kinman Jae, the list goes on. João Felix, Cody Gakpo. If United would have got all those players, the team would have been in a better position. The team would have been playing better football, and the team would have been a bit more consistent. I don't know where Paul Merson has got his invalid comments from. He doesn't like it that Arsenal didn't beat Chelsea yesterday. It's not my fault your team are a bunch of bottle jobs and can't beat a very, very poor, pissed Chelsea team that are basically a B-Tech version of Mourinho with Pochettino at the wheel. It's not my fault Arsenal didn't win yesterday, and it's not my fault that Declan Rice doesn't step up in big games against bigger clubs than you. It's not my fault you've not won a trophy. It's not my fault you've not won a proper trophy. I mean, I don't know how Arsenal fans can class the Community Shield as a trophy. It's absolutely fucking embarrassing. It really, really is. Proper trophies are the Premier League, the FA Cup, the Carabao Cup, and the Champions League, not the McDonald's trophy. We're not at McDonald's drive-thru waiting for our meal to come through the bloody window. It's embarrassing. Like, Man United have been a mess for 18 years. The performances this season have been affected by the Glazers' penny pinching. If they would have gone and got, the players Ten Hag wanted in the first place, we might not be in this situation. We are fighting for our Champions League life here. If we go out of the Champions League, that's on the Glazers. That's on Richard Arnold. It's on John Murtough, because we would have been playing better football with better players that Ten Hag was desperately wanting to add to that United team. Personally, he didn't want Sergio Reguilon. He didn't really want Amrabat. He wanted Rasmus Højlund. He wanted Onana. He wanted Mount, but he also wanted Kane. He wanted Osimhen. He wanted Gakpo. He wanted João Felix. He wanted a right back. He wanted a centre back. And have those players been brought? No. They've all ended up at other clubs or have stayed at their current club. And Man United are the ones suffering because those players would improve the style of football that Ten Hag is trying to influence at Old Trafford. And I think some fans and supporters do need to wake up a little bit. I do believe sometimes we are watching Man United blind. I do believe sometimes we are watching the game with our eyes shut, because I look at Manchester United and we are very bloody inconsistent. How we scraped past Sheffield United yesterday, I've got no clue. How we scraped past Brentford, I ain't got no clue. But we should not be accepting that scraping the barrel FC. We need to be producing football that we all enjoy and love watching. And United cannot be trusted. The players we've got unavailable is affecting us. It's no excuse, though. The players we have got playing for us are not going in, deep diving for tackles or going with free-flowing football. And I don't know why we're not doing it. Is Ten Hag holding these players back? Or is it the players basically thinking, well, we got top four, we got Champions League football, we are mathematically still in it. We are not realistically going to win the Premier League because everyone above us is better than us on a consistent level. And I think that's the problem. I think some of these players look at that, maybe a cup win is a better way of achieving a great season instead of getting proper achievements. That is, being a Champions League club, winning trophies every bloody season. I just don't think these players really think that they don't want to be tested. And I think that's a bad sign of things to come. And Ten Hag is not to blame for the mess we're in. People keep pinpointing that Eric Ten Hag is to blame for the performances. I'm sorry, he ain't the one to blame. I'm 110% buying this manager. But if he would have been back properly and he would have been given the number one players he wanted in the summer transfer window, we would not be in the position we are in. We would probably be sat top of the Prem, top of our Champions League group, and the Carabao Cup defence would have been a lot easier, because we have got a tough run of fixtures. It is FC Copenhagen, then it's Manchester City, it's then Newcastle. I mean, we have got 3 bloody tricky games coming up, and then it's Fulham away. I mean, every game now is a must-win for this football club to turn this season around. Do I believe these players have got it in them? At the moment, if we're scraping the barrel, no. We are already missing a key number of players for Tuesday night. Amad Diallo is still injured. Don't know when he's going to be back. Kobe Manu is another one, still injured. Don't know when he's going to be back. Luke Shaw, Malacia, Aaron Wan-Bissaka are all long-term injuries. I don't expect any of them to be back to at least January or February, the latest, because at the moment, I think they're all injury-prone. All 3 of them should even be at this bloody football club. And really, Man United would be a better club without them. I'm sorry, it's the truth, and the truth hurts. Man United would be a better club without all 3 of those mercenaries taking piss through it, consistent injury after injury. And it's the truth. If people don't like the truth, I'm sorry. But if Luke Shaw wasn't here, Aaron Wan-Bissaka wasn't here, and Malacia wasn't here, we'd be in a better position without them. Like, they are big misses. I do agree. We are massively, massively insecure at the back without all 3 of them. And it's a big, big problem. And we all going to have to hope that, Sergio Reguilon is fit for Tuesday. And I think he is going to have to play through the pain barrier. If Sergio Reguilon is still not 100% fit to play, we are still going to have major, major problems, because that performance from that back 4 yesterday was embarrassing. Diego Dalot, people are hyping up that goal thinking it's beautiful. Yes, it was a great goal. And yes, it was a great way to honour Sir Bobby Charlton with a great finish to win the 3 points and claim the win for United in the Premier League. But is he really the answer at right back? For me, I've seen way too many performances from Dalot from the Jose Mourinho era as this club's manager. He's bang average at best. I think if you had a proper versatile right back like Frimpong from Bayern Leverkusen, who I rate massively, massively highly, and I would expect him to be a Premier League player in the future, and I hope that will be in a Man United shirt, I think he'd be a better choice at right back than any other right back we've had in this club's history. I think for me, also, Victor Lindelof at left back, that clearly was a disaster yesterday. I think for me, McAtee on loan from Manchester City was running rings round Lindelof. And I did say this about Victor, another Mourinho signing that should not have been allowed to be sanctioned. And look what's happened. It is biting us hard on the ass cheeks, and that bite is visible to the naked eye. He was getting turned inside out. And for Victor Lindelof to be turned inside out by a young enthusiasm Man City Academy player at best, who for me, if he keeps playing like that, is going to have a very bright future at Manchester City Football Club. Victor Lindelof should not be in this team. I'm really, really sorry. He is no better than Harry Maguire. And when you've got Maguire playing at the back four with him, United are going to go to shit, and we are going to concede a shitload of goals. And that's the problem. That is the problem, because if you're looking at it, without Reguilon, we are in a lot worse shape. For me, he's been our best left back we have had in absolute years. All this hype around Luke Shaw's invalid. All this hype around Malacia is invalid. They are both injury-prone players. And for me, why Luke Shaw was given a new contract and he's going to be here till at least 2028. I mean, come on. Let's be realistic here. Reguilon is the answer. He's been an absolute shining asset since he come to this club, Reguilon. He's probably been our best one we've had ever. He's up there for me with Patrice Evra. I think Reguilon has got the game that Luke Shaw and Malacia simply do not possess. And yes, that is a hard thing. That is very, very difficult. That fans are not going to like that. But at the end of the day, Reguilon can actually get forward. He can actually take on a player. He can actually put a decent cross into the opposition penalty area. And without Regan on left back, we look very, very imbalanced. And I think, Victor Lindelof, like I said, was awful. Harry Maguire, I mean, how did he get man of the match yesterday was absolutely astronomically unfair when there was 2 or 3 better players than him who were, showing consistency in a Man United shirt. I mean, I don't know what game fans were watching that Harry Maguire was probably the best player. I mean, I don't know what we're doing in this fan base. If Harry Maguire is getting gifted man of the match, it is astronomically absolutely delusional thinking. I mean, if he's been given the man of the match, then I'm a great fortnight player. I'm sorry, but he was bang average yesterday. I mean, if you're conceding 2 stupid free kicks in the first 10 minutes, no wonder the bat falls all over the place, because I don't think the players around Maguire trust Maguire, and I don't trust him. I mean, he ain't no captain, and that is why the captaincy was taken off him in the first place, which was justified. But I think overall, Harry Maguire, Lindelof and Dalot should not be in that team. I'm really sorry. We look massively vulnerable. Every time we have an opposition team attack that back 4, United just turn around and let the shot happen, or let the shot on goal, or let the player through who's got the ball with a free run to put into Onana's net. And that's another concern Tuesday, that Onana was feeling back of his hamstring and his left leg in yesterday's game, and yet again that could be another problem. If Onana isn't fit Tuesday, we are basically risking our Champions League future on a Turkish goalkeeper, Bandia from Fenerbahce. We are risking that element of risk. If Onana has done his hamstring in his left leg, I can't imagine how many goals United are going to get shifted on bloody Tuesday. It could be 3 or 4, because Bandia has not played 1 minute of action for this club. And for me, you are making massive risks if Onana's not fit. That's a big, big risk. But I do expect Onana to play through that pain barrier. But if he keeps feeling that hamstring at the back of his left leg, then that's another bloody problem. If we lose Onana, we are screwed, because we are basically having to play Bandia for the rest of our season, because a hamstring injury can keep you up to 6 to 8 weeks. If it's torn, that's 3 to 4 months. That is mainly the rest of the season gone. You've then got till February to return, and then potentially you've got March, April and May to get United over the line. If they do lose Onana and Bandia is in goal, that back 5's a bloody problem. I'm sorry, that is what you call a manager's not been backed properly. If Maguire would have been sold, if Lindelof and Dalot would have been sold, Luke Shaw and Malacia, and they brought in 2 experienced centre-backs, 2 experienced left-backs and 2 experienced right-backs, United's back 5 would be so bloody secure. It would be so secure, but United don't do it. They don't back a manager properly with the significant funds that is actually available. And the money is there. Don't believe the bullshit from Samuel Luckhurst and James Ducker, Laurie Whitwell, David Ornstein. It's all bullshit just to protect the Glazers. Money is there to buy players. It was the biggest myth all season, and even in the summer, that, financial fair play is an issue, sell to is an issue. No, it's not. It is the biggest bullshit ever that Man United come up with to protect the Glazers' incompetence. And like those comments from Paul Merson, he is talking at his absolute ass. It is unfucking believable. An ex-Arsenal reject doesn't like it if club didn't win yesterday. That's not my fault. You've not won a proper trophy for nearly 6-7 years. Maybe face a bit of reality and think about the McDonald's Cup that you won, which is apparently classed as a trophy, even though it's not. And those Arsenal players are absolutely getting their dicks out about it. It is embarrassing. So yeah, it could be, it could be a good night for United. I'm not saying it's going to be, but at the end of the day, that if that back 5 hasn't got Onana and it does contain Maguire, Lindelof, Dalot, and Johnny Evans. I mean, even Johnny Evans went off of a knock yesterday. If he's out injured, we've then got no backup centre-back either. So at the end of the day, United are going to struggle to get a squad available at the moment. We are struggling enough through injuries, and the amount of football this club is having to play, every other club in the league as well, in every other cup competition. It is an absolute disgrace. They are going to end up ending some of these footballers' careers at a very young age with the amount of fixture congestion these teams are having to face. It's unfair, it's not acceptable, and it needs to stop. Does a winter break need to come back in? I think maybe it has to. I think a winter break might have to happen. And hopefully it might, but there's no guarantees there. But going from the defence to the midfield, there were so many fans hyping up Scott McTominay and how great he's been against Brentford, and he's Super Scott. Yeah, he scored a goal yesterday, which was an absolute fluke and a very lucky goal, to be honest, and then conceded a stupid penalty with his arm in this position on my right arm, and the ball hits his arm. I mean, come on. Scott McTominay should not be in that team Tuesday. I'm sorry, he's crap. That midfield lacked so much energy. It lacked enthusiasm and it lacked attacking ideas. And for me, the midfield's already got a big midfield absentee. We have got no Casemiro Tuesday night. He is suspended for the game. And he's also injured as well. So he wouldn't be playing anyway because he got sent off against Galatasaray, but he's now got his ankle injury. That's another big miss Tuesday. So we're more likely again to deploy Sofyan Amrabat, who I thought yesterday was very good. I think for me, that midfield was very comfortable with him at CDM, and he can do the Casemiro role. And I think for me, I think he's very unlucky because he's got an out of form Bruno Fernandes and a crap Scott McTominay. And at the moment, that's not going to help Amrabat's game if he's got two inconsistent players in front of him who can't do their job. And it's a big, big concern that, United, in my view, need to start stepping up. These players know what it takes and know what the risks are if they don't win this game Tuesday. All hell could break loose. And it probably will if we go out the Champions League. Let's hope that doesn't happen, but it might. So I think, without Casemiro, and more likely, again, to see Amrabat do the CDM role and protect that back four. But the problem is, in my view, without Casemiro, and I mean, if Casemiro is not back for the Man City game, then yet again, we have got a very, very big problem because that back four will not keep getting protected by Amrabat every game. Casemiro, we need him back ASAP, really, in my view, to make sure that midfield is balanced and secured because we can't keep relying on Amrabat because if you then lose Amrabat for any games or injury or suspension, you've then got no CDM. And I don't think, playing McTominay in that role is going to go down very well. And I think for me, we need Casemiro back from suspension and hopefully he will be fit for the Man City game. He's going to be a big miss Tuesday, but I think, like I said, Amrabat can fill that role on his absence. And I think also, hopefully Bruno Fernandes and maybe, start, maybe an Eriksen or maybe a Mason Mount Tuesday. I think that midfield lacked so much energy yesterday. There was a lack of ideas. There was a lack of creativity. There was a lack of creative play. I think that midfield looked very lethargic with McTominay. And McTominay is no good. I'm sorry. He's absolutely an atrocious footballer. And I'm sorry, going forward long term, he is not the answer. And people can hype McTominay up as much as you like. And I respect people out there like McTominay and like his style of play. But for me, going long term, he ain't the future for United's midfield problems. Eriksen's better than McTominay. Mount is better than McTominay. And I think for me, those two are a lot more secure in that midfield, and there's a lot more creative idea if they're in it than not. But will Eriksen come back in? Or will Mount come back in? I've got absolutely no idea if either of those will start Tuesday. I don't know. But I think, Ten Hag's probably going to have to. But at the moment, I think Ten Hag is probably satisfied with what McTominay's producing and the goals he's scoring. But I think playing a good FC Copenhagen team, you can't take risks against, a team that are also fighting for their lives. I mean, if FC Copenhagen do win Tuesday night and we do lose, and Galatasaray beat Bayern Munich, then Manchester United are out. We are out of the Champions League, and I'm sorry, season's over. because there'll be no point. I won't want to watch Europa League on a Thursday night again. That ain't going to fill me with any bloody confidence. So I think for me, Mount has to come back in. And I know I'm not a big fan of Mason Mount, and I know I'm not a very big fan of, his style of play since we signed a 2.0 Nemanja Matic reject from Chelsea. But I think going forward, Mount's probably the ideal candidate for McTominay's replacement. McTominay is not the answer. Mount and Eriksen both offer long-term energy, enthusiasm, creativity that midfield is bloody lacking. And it was lacking yesterday, and it was causing several big problems. So hopefully, Ten Hag will see some sense and bring either Eriksen or Mount back into that midfield three with Fernandes. But yeah, again, I wouldn't be surprised again that if, maybe Ten Hag plays four midfielders, maybe he puts Eriksen, Mount and Amrabat in the midfield three Tuesday. And then on the right wing, which is another big problem, does he stick Fernandes on the right wing where I know it doesn't work? I think every fan United supporter, we all know that playing Bruno Fernandes on the right wing is not an answer. But at the moment, the front three is a big debate. Antony doesn't look like his heart's in it. Antony does not look like he's ready to be playing back football. I think for me, not being in the international break, praying for Brazil was a big problem. I think for me, Antony is simply not ready to return to football. I think he looks very out of the game. He looks very lethargic. He looks a lack of idea. There seems to be a lack of enthusiasm from his game. And we chucked 85 million on that. And I think for me, that is going to bite United hard on the ass again, on the ass cheeks. And I think, again, that is a bloody concern that, if Antony is going to start stepping up, and I know he's had his personal problems back in Brazil that he's had to deal with and he had to step away from football. But since he's come back into the United fold, Antony just doesn't look like he's the same player anymore. And I think for me, he's one of my favourite players, but going forward, I think, again, has that been a mistake to bring in an 85 million right winger that was meant to provide all the answers? And the last few games since he's been back, there has simply been nothing going forward from him. So maybe Ten Hag would risk putting Fernandes on the right wing and then playing those three midfielders I've picked. But I think at the end of the day, I think Ten Hag will still go with Antony. But I think time will tell how much patience there's going to be from Ten Hag to drop Antony eventually. Because if Antony is playing Tuesday and he doesn't play well, I think he'll have no choice but to drag him off at half time. And I think people need to realise that's a clear indication that Ahmad, like I said, is still injured. He doesn't rate Pellistri. I don't rate Pellistri. I think he needs to be sold permanently in January or even in the summer transfer window in 2024 next year. Or we need to go and get another right winger. I'm sorry, that might have to happen. Or does Jadon Sancho come back into the fold? I don't know what is going to happen. Maybe we need to get Sancho back in, but it looks like Sancho's future's over at this club altogether. So United are out of ideas for the right wing. And I think, Rasmus Højlund will start down the middle again. I thought, again, yesterday, he should have taken the chance he did to score. He had an easy tap in through that Rashford ball across the penalty, the Sheffield United Fodringham's net. He should have really put that goal in and should have made it 2-1. And United would have been leading at half-time. These goals will from Rasmus. I just think, he's still adapting. I still think there's world-class potential in him. And I think for me, he's going to be an absolute phenomenal world-class striker for this football club. And I think many years to come, he's going to be one of the greatest players that's ever graced playing in United shirt. The goals will come. I think he's suffering of a lack of service. He is suffering of a lack of organisation. And I think for me, when you've got a lack of service into the box, you've got a lack of left wing or right wing potential from Rashford and Antony, it's a big problem. It is a massively, massively big problem. And I think, another debate, does anyone want to drop Rashford Tuesday? I mean, would anybody drop Rashford with the way he's playing at the moment for Manchester United? Because I think for me, I would have to drop him. I think Rashford, again, yesterday was selfish with the ball. I think he seems to be running out of ideas what to do with the ball. I think for me, he tries and takes everything on his own where he should be playing as a team. And I think for me, he needs to get his head out of the free school meals and out of the school book club and focus on his football. And I think for me, with all that last season, that he's probably suffered burnout. And I think for me, 1 goal in nearly 13 games, does he really deserve an England call-up or even deserve to be in this United team? God, no. Absolutely not. He should not be in that United team. But the problem is, maybe Ten Hag thinks maybe Garnacho isn't ready. I think we all know deep down that maybe Garnacho isn't the answer we all expected and probably isn't ready to be playing a lot of, first team football for this club. Or we have to start Rashford because the football club like to brand Marcus Rashford around Manchester United to make him the big world name star? I want to make Rashford's name light up in lights. I'm not sure. It's a very puzzling one why Rashford is still playing in this United starting lineup. For me, if I was the manager, I'd be making a big call and dropping him because I don't think he deserves to be in that United team yesterday just because of one great goal he scored for England against Italy in a Euro 2024 qualifier where England won 3-1 at Wembley. Like, I don't think he should be in that England lineup just because of the goal he scored the other night. I mean, come on. He should be in that United team based on the form for his club, not his bloody country. Like, if I was playing for England, I would never play for England. I can't because I'm not fit enough. I used to play football at a high professional level. Like, I'm not going to be rude and I'm not going to be funny about it. But, like, if I'm being really blunt and being really honest, I would always pick my club over my country because club football is a lot more entertaining, a lot more attacking football and a lot more free-flowing, better players and watching a B-Tech Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and Gareth Southgate who's got 2.0 tactics like Solskjaer did while he was manager at Man United. Like, I'm sorry, I don't fancy that. So I think, Rashford, for me, has to be dropped, but I don't think Ten Hag will drop him. I think we'll probably have to see the same team we saw yesterday, but I'm hoping we don't. I'm hoping Reguilon will be in that team. I'm hoping Rashford will be dropped. But I think United are going to have to go as strong as they can. Maybe we will see Fernandes on the right wing, and maybe we will see Eriksen, Mount and Amrabat in that midfield three. And maybe we will see Lindelof at left back. Maybe Maguire will start with Varane. But time will tell how United perform Tuesday. I just think these players know this is a make or break game. You go out the Champions League and your class is a failure. This could be our worst Champions League campaign ever. And it could get worse. If United lose this game and FC Copenhagen win and Galatasaray, it's between those three to get the two automatics. And then third spot's the Europa League. If Man United end back in the Europa League, I don't know if I'd laugh or cry because I don't want to be in the Europa League. It's an embarrassing competition to be in the bloody first place. I don't want to be in the Europa League. It doesn't excite me. It gives me no enthusiasm. I think it's a boring competition for mid-table clubs. I'm sorry. But maybe United are going to look at that thinking, well, there's our best chance for European trophy. We win the Europa League. We get back in the Champions League again next season. And then our summer transfer window, and even in January, might be better with European football secured again for next season. But like I said, only time will tell. But United have got to win this game. I hope we will. I hope we put a performance in we can be happy with. But if we're just going to scrape the barrel again and get away with another B-Tech win over two mid-table Premier League clubs, then I just don't think, for me, that's the right direction to go down. But at the end of the day, Man United have got a job to do. Ten Hag knows the pressure he's under. He knows the consequences of a Champions League exit, and he knows the potential consequences of not even being bloody left in Europe. I mean, if United have no more European football, it's going to be bloody embarrassing. It's going to look really, really shit because you're going to see everyone else in Europe play around you and you're not going to be there in it. So I'm hoping United win, but let's see what happens. I am going to go for 3 or 4-0 because FC Copenhagen do concede a lot of goals, and I think they are going to be there for the taking defensively and vulnerably in the midfield and in their back four. So I hope you enjoyed this preview. Hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button if you're new to the channel. United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. Share the video, hit the tweet button and hit that retweet button as well for me. Remember to put the notification bell on also to receive dedicated live content right throughout the last few months in 2023 this year on United Red Devils 20 on YouTube. We'll be back for more Fortnite Chapter 4 Season 4 Last Resort, more Rocket League Season 12 Porsche, EA Sports FC 24 content as well, more previews, more match reactions, and then please join me for the Champions League reaction Tuesday night, which hopefully is a Man United win. Hopefully we can get our first win in the group stage of the Champions League for the 23-24 season, and hopefully we can keep this Champions League campaign alive. But you can't guarantee anything with Manchester United, but I think United have got no choice. We are going to have to go for it Tuesday and win this game. Let's see what happens. So join me Tuesday night for that reaction. Enjoy the rest of your weekend. Stay safe, be nice, be kind to each other. You're all legends, you're all legendary, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.